Hey there, welcome to day 1526 of What Chip to Now. Spiritual wants to avoid a wolf in sheep's clothing. Horne-Ellstrom here, and our idiom or expression for supersize your business today was a wolf in sheep's clothing, and I don't know how good a job I did explaining it. I've had quite a bit of personal experience with wolf in sheep's clothing, dealing with people in both corporate America, in my personal life, and in my professional life. And sometimes my son-in-law and I were having a conversation the other day about why do these type of situations keep showing up for me, he was asking. I said, well, it's because I found in my experience, they show up because they're trying to show me something. So if I'm noticing a pattern of the different types of experiences or the different type of people that I'm attracting into my life, it's usually to show me something that I need to know or I need to see. I remember early on when I was coaching other people, I had a whole lot of people come up in my life and were coaching clients and customers that were all over the place, not focused. And I realized it's because I needed to become more focused in what it was that I was doing with my life. So if we're noticing something, it's usually because it's something we need to learn about, usually about ourselves or about our relationships or about some area or aspect of our life. And wolf in sheep's clothing is no different. I have not experienced personally a wolf in sheep's clothing for 10 years or so now, me personally, because they don't even get through my filters of my life because I know what to look for now. And I talked about that a little bit in Supersize Your Business. What do you look for? How do you identify someone if they're a wolf in sheep's clothing? How do you identify any type of toxic person, right? Because a wolf in sheep's clothing is an example of a toxic person, a person that is out to put themselves ahead and harm you in some way. Now, in corporate America, it's interesting. There are people, everybody wants to climb the corporate ladder, right? There's a whole group of people that just want to do their jobs. And there's a whole group of people that come in all the time. It's kind of like the new crop every year of college that want to do well, want to perform, and want to move up in the ranks of a corporation or a business or a job or whatever, and want to do better and personally improve. And some of them are pretty cutthroat, but there's a difference between being cutthroat and competitive and wanting to improve yourself and harming other people or doing whatever it takes, stepping on whoever you need to step on as you climb that ladder. And we know the difference. We inherently know the difference. We know if we act like that person or not, right? If we are willing to do things to harm other people to get what we want, we got a problem and we better address it. So today we talked about that idiom, that expression, shared a couple examples, shared a couple of things to look for, not all of them, because I'm not an expert in toxic people, surely, but if it's something that strikes an interest and you hear about it, it's something you can look into more and find out, well, how to identify if I'm on a project with somebody that's actually trying to undermine me and get me out so that they can get a promotion or they can look better in our boss's eyes, etc. Maybe I have a problem and I need to eliminate that toxic person from the equation or from my experience. Then for our annual challenge, our BU 365-day challenge today, we're focusing this segment on the spiritual area and aspects of our life, of the life framework. I do a life framework, and I've worked with a life framework with 7 different areas and aspects since my 20s, my early 20s. And when I got out of college, you did some work with Tony Robbins and Bob Proctor, all kinds of gurus back in the day, Jim Rohn. And each guru has their own life framework. And I adopted one. I probably got this one from Tony Robbins, is who I would credit with getting through my brain and saying, all right, you need to have some kind of a framework that you look at the different areas and aspects of your life so you can set your goals and decide what you want. And I picked the 7 one. Is that 7? Yeah. Physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, relationships, and contribution. And then last year, during the pandemic, and in April of 2020, I started doing a 30-plus day get up and go challenge to keep myself moving and to help other people keep moving through the pandemic. And I did it through all of 2020 and all of 2021. And this year I've rolled it into this annual challenge. So once a month, we are going through what I call and use on myself, the SOAP framework, where we use that to wash through. It's a process that we use to wash through any change or challenge that comes our way. And we install it in our subconscious so it becomes automatic. And so any change, any challenge, any difference, any problem that comes up automatically gets filtered through our subconscious through the SOAP framework. Then If it's something that's bigger and requires our conscious attention, it comes up into our conscious, and guess what we do? We run it through the SOAP framework on a conscious level and make conscious choices about what we're going to do and how we're going to handle that challenge or change. So today we're talking about, as preparation for whenever we're looking at the SOAP framework, first we have to know what we want. You got to know what we want. If we don't know what we want and where we're going, it's like hopping in the car and going for a drive. Sometimes we just want to drive around and de-stress or just relax by driving around. Other times we want to go to the store. If we want to go to the store and we get in the car and all we do is drive around, we have a problem. But if we have our destination in mind, we're going to get to the store. So today we talked about we have to identify what we want with respect to our spiritual well-being. Now, this is a little graphic that I created when we did the emotional area and aspect of our life, but I just added a few things about spiritual in pen, like, and I need my magnifying glass, of course, to read them. Uncertainty, blind faith, disconnect, alone, empty. Because one of the fastest ways to know what we do want is to brainstorm a list of the things that we don't want. If I ask 100 people, what do you want? 98% of them, 98 out of that 100 people will just shut down, go stone cold silent, because they don't know what they want. They've never actually sat down and said, these are the things I want in the spiritual area and aspect of my life. And then the 2% will be able to knock it off and tell you right away. But for the 98% of us that don't know or don't think we know, the fastest way to come up with what we want is to think about the things we don't want. Why? Because our society, in my entire life, and probably yours as well, has been focused on the negative. So if we focus on the negative, list those out, it's pretty easy to flip those around and just look at what's the opposite of that. Well, if I don't want uncertainty, I want certainty, right? If I don't want blind faith, I want faith in things that I have personally chosen to believe in. A lot of us, especially in the area of spirituality and religion, we have just done what our parents did. That's totally true for me. For 50 years, I was a Catholic. Why? Because my mom was a Catholic and her parents were Catholic and their parents were Catholic, right? So we just were all Catholic. We went according to our mom's faith. That was just the way we did it. That's the way people did it, which is interesting because my dad was Episcopalian. And why did we go with my mom's faith instead of my dad's? Not sure why. Probably because, I don't know why. But that's just the way it was done in our family. So I was a Catholic for 50 years. Then I had my own experience that said, maybe I am spiritual but not religious and I need to learn more about this. And I went on a journey for about 10 years. And now I do a little bit as I do the challenge and continually improve to work toward my 9 areas and aspects of my life. Legacy and long-term goals and objectives. I break those down into little pieces, and in this month we're focusing on spiritual. So all we need to do is come up with one thing that we want to run the SOAP framework on over the next 4 days. That's what we did in our annual challenge today. Other things, I've got little things in the fire all over the place, and people that I'm working with that I need to pay attention to. None of them, by the way, are wolves in sheep clothing. None of them are sheep either, right? I guess I think it's an interesting saying, wolf in sheep's clothing, because I think we think of sheep as just people that go along with things, and we don't think that they're going to ever harm us. We just think they're our friends, right? Our friends are people that just support us and go along with us. And wolves, not so much. Wolves are out to eat us. And so we don't want to be eaten today or ever. We want to hang out with people, not that are necessarily sheep. I like to hang out with people that think for themselves. So, and I like to think I think for myself, although I know that just like everybody else in the world, and I get reminded of it every once in a while, usually by family and friends, that I am thinking like other people and not questioning and thinking for myself. And so every day almost, I remind myself, think for yourself, think for yourself, think for yourself. What does this feel like to you? If it feels off to me or not right for me, then it's not right for me. If I hear something and it makes me feel awful or icky or negative in any way, I just shut it off. I know it's not for me. It's, it's like if you're listening to the radio and you hear a song that you don't like or that irritates you, do you listen to the whole song, or do you just push a button and change the station, or do you push a button and turn it off? It's up to you. We always can do that. I love music. Not so much anymore. I don't participate in much music, but as a younger person, I freaking had a ton of music, tons of music, like thousands of cassette tapes back in the days of cassette tapes. I had thousands of cassette tapes and thousands of albums. I had a ton of music, and over the years, I just got rid of it. Actually, I think when I moved out of my house a couple years ago, I finally got rid of that last 2 containers of cassette tapes because I'm like, all right, I don't even have a cassette player anymore. Why am I keeping these? And I sent them off to Goodwill. So that was probably 300 or 400 of them that I had still hung on to for all these years that I hadn't listened to for how many years because I didn't have a cassette player anymore. I kept a cassette player and a record player for a really long time. And then finally I was like, the record player's gone. I'm going to get rid of the albums as well. So, but I never listened to songs I didn't like. If I was playing an album and I didn't like a song, I would skip it. I'd go over, and if I had to pick up the needle, I'd move it to a different song. I wouldn't listen to songs I didn't like. Now, there's artists you like, but they might have a song you don't like, right? So you listen to what works for you. You listen to the music that works for you. You be around the people that work for you and build you up, not that ever tear you down or steal your work or steal your credit or take credit for things that you've created, stuff like that. Those are toxic people. And it's a good rule of thumb just to eliminate all the toxic people from your life, as many as you possibly can. Now, some of us have toxic people in our life that we're not ever going to remove, right? We're not ever going to remove them because they might be your parent. They might be your sibling. They might be, hopefully not your kids, but you never know. I mean, there's different people and we all, once we hit a certain age, make our own choices and become who we're going to be. And it might not be who our parents or our grandparents or we would expect, right? Lucky for me, I have awesome kids and awesome grandchildren. So, all right. That's it. If I can help you anyway, ask. I always say my 5-minute thing. If you are stuck on something and you don't know what to do, I want to be that resource for you. If you've looked at it, you're like, I've got this dilemma, I've got this challenge, I don't know what to do. I've done a little research on it. I've tried to self-solve. I've tried to figure it out, but I'm still at a quandary. I still don't know what to do. I guarantee that if we chat or text for 5 minutes or less, you will know the next thing that you need to do. I guarantee it. All right. Have an awesome day. I will be with you tomorrow.